It's Thursday. We've had a false start. This is take two. Hello, John.
Good morning, Stephen and Peter.
Hello, Peter.
Good morning.
Now, Peter, you have a story to start our show. I'm going to remove an image, and the story will be better for being told the second time. And I'm going to put the image full screen, and it's over to you.
Okay, so this is a typical street in Aberdeen. This is known as George Street in Aberdeen. Used to be, if you see both sides of the pavements, many years ago, it used to be absolutely packed. It's a different area of the city now. It's totally different. And if you look at this, you will see the roads closed. You will see a bicycle lane, and you will see a Mercedes parked in the bicycle lane. Now, when I come down the one-way system, which is a one-way system, I actually parked there too, because there was no signs telling it. It's so confused. So I parked against the map, and then I went onto the pavement, had a look around, and realised it was in the cycle lane, because it was not real. It's okay saying it's a cycle lane at front, but there was nothing else telling me it was a cycle lane. So I went away and parked elsewhere. Then I came back and took a picture. So what on the left is the widened pavement that nobody uses, because they still use the normal pavement, right? Pavement, and they walk past each other, very close. And then you've got the one-way system coming down. As you can see, you'll see the tail end of a bicycle. He was a good guy coming that way, you know. However, not long after, on the left-hand side, someone came down on their bicycle.
Yeah.
On the pavement. And that sums up Aberdeen streets at the moment. It's a total disaster. It's cost us a fortune to get this put in.
It couldn't happen in Devizes. Yes, it could. It could happen in Brafton-Avon.
The main A34, the road that goes from Manchester to Southampton, runs through part of Solihull called Shirley. And for the entire length of Shirley Shopping Centre, it has service roads on both sides. But half the service road is shut on one side and half the service road is shut on the other side. And this great big sign saying it's for COVID-19 prevention. But there's no encouragement for people to use the closed areas, and the pavement's very wide anyway. So I just don't understand some of these things that the councillors have dreamt up as COVID prevention.
Certainly spent a lot of money in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but they've been given money, haven't they? I mean, that's partly it. They've actually been given the money to spend.
So,
right, okay. So we're live. Hello, everybody who's watching, and thank you. We had a technical problem, but all's well that ends well. And let's go on with a couple of stories, and then we can start screen sharing again. Okay, so welcome to the show. And officially, this is Blabbing for Britain, episode 246. Sorry, John. I'll change the layout in a minute. Okay. Right. Okay. Now.
What is it you used to see on walls? Kilroy was here, you know, trying to peek over the top of the fence.
Just a minute. Okay, we'll get there.
I didn't mind.
No, it's not just annoying to us; it's annoying to everybody watching too. So I'm going to make a change, and we will get sorted out.
This is making me think there is a need for people to run shows behind the scene for corporates, etc.
I agree with that, Peter. I agree with that. All right, okay, and so this is Blabbing for Britain, episode 246, and the first one is something I heard on the radio 4 this morning, which is good news. In the last 7 days, there's been a slowing down, and we're now headed back towards 1. we're we're in an area actually going totally out of control. But thanks to the lockdowns that have been carried out.
I was going to wait to say, is it because of lockdowns?
Yeah, yeah. It's slowed down everywhere.
Oh,
Apart
hey,
from the northeast of
and not
England.
in Jeremy Corney's house. He's just had a meeting with 9 people for dinner. Did you see that in the news?
No, we.
Big news. So, there's a nice little picture of Jeremy Corbyn at dinner.
Oh right, yeah, got it.
His
Yeah.
good friends. And the big debate is, should he be fined?
Yes, he should.
There you
Should.
go.
Well, not only that, he's not the only one. And we say good morning to Claire.
Yeah.
Because Prime Minister's been warning us that we shouldn't be rule breakers, and his dad went shopping without a mask.
I think it would be great for him to get a fine just to show
Oh yeah,
him and Corbyn, just to say, we mean business from now. Dad, you're a plonker. I'm sending the police round.
yeah. I mean, there was a defence last week. Our MP, I'll not name him because he should be embarrassed, was on a train without a mask. And somebody took a photograph of him and published it on Facebook, as you do. And
Yeah.
his excuse was, well, instead of publishing that photograph on Facebook, you should have actually told me I wasn't wearing a mask and I would have put one on. So it's your fault. Right, say good
I
morning.
have to say, though, that I have twice in the last week walked into a shop and suddenly realised, oh, I haven't put my mask on, and had
Yeah.
to stop and do it.
Right.
So, you know, it is potentially easily done. I also have to say that twice in the last week, I've tried to drink and eat through my mask. So, you know, you can get overly used to wearing your
Yeah.
mask.
Yeah.
The problem is, yeah, I've seen me go into shops, and I've had to go back to my vehicle to get a mask. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
no problem. But it's people that blatantly go in and say, I'm not wearing my mask. And say, why not? Oh, I've got this problem, I've got a problem. Please, if you're listening from our government, make it compulsory to have some sort of information, not a voluntary, but a card from your doctor or something like that saying, this is why, instead of all the hassle. I'll say, well, that's no problem. Well, make sure people keep out your way. You've got 15 minutes to shop. Go.
All the major, certainly in the UK, all the major supermarkets, the Tesco's, etc., of this world, they're part of a scheme where you can go and collect a lanyard that you can wear that says you're entitled to not wear a mask.
That's good to know.
But here's the thing.
Yeah, they haven't got any in my local Tesco's though, but
Here's the problem. People, a guy got thrown off a train and seemingly had nothing wrong. He'd been coughing in somebody as well. You must be able to show proof, just like the disabled pay cards.
Yeah, you've got to have some form of evidence to get the lanyard.
Yes,
Peter.
absolutely. And it's got to come in. I told you, Paul said this, we should all have a national ID card. And if the police come out, yes, you're a yes, you're willing to get the disease and you're willing to go to the death tent. Fine by me. Oh, is that a cough? Go to the death tent. But that may be too much for some people. There's no, I'm only joking.
Two comments are coming in, and over to Chris. I put my mask on before I go out of the house, so I cannot forget it. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And Claire, we need to get into the habit of wearing masks, taking one with you at all times. I keep one in the car and one in my bag.
I told you, if you're
Yeah, but only odd men have bags.
Odd.
Man bags.
John.
Odd,
Yeah.
what odd
You
is
get taken off the air.
The odd man, i.e., 1 in 10 or 1 in 100.
All
That's
right.
odd.
Okay.
Not odd as in unusual or yeah.
Yes. Okay.
well, I can tell you, I've got boxes in
The whole beginning. My mask goes in my back pocket. Pick up my keys, pick up my mask, back pocket, done. That's the theory anyway, apart from the odd occasion when I forgot.
I've got
Keys and mask.
in both of the cars. I've put a pack of 10 masks. I mean, there's a couple out of each of them now, but there's no excuse. If you go out in the car, there's always a mask there, whichever of us is driving.
Two comments from Claire. Sorry, Peter.
Are you guys members of Costco?
My daughter is, but I'm not.
Well, it's the cheapest masks I've found. 18.5% and they're good quality. 18.5 pence per mask with no VAT on top. That's the cheapest I've found.
Yeah. I think I paid £5.70 for a pack of 10.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to Costco because Costco has great big queues.
I know they did actually. Right, breaking news, guys.
Yeah, and just back to comment Claire made earlier, because this is happenstance, it's coincidence. We're all colour coordinated today with our backgrounds.
Yes.
Works
What
well.
snake bite?
I don't know.
Yes, I'm on the snake bite already.
Yeah, you were drinking. What were you drinking? It wasn't snake bite, we know that.
Oh, this. It's
Yeah.
diluted orange.
Right.
Cordial.
Nothing
And
so
this
innocent
one
as.
is tomato soup.
I think just a minute. You're drinking tomato soup and orange juice alternately.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, okay.
This is my breakfast. Tomato soup.
Okay. Now, asylum seekers could be processed on old ferries. Now, this story's changed twice in the last 48 hours. We're going to actually send people off to remote desert islands to be processed.
Well, 4,000 miles away in the middle of the Atlantic, essentially.
No, I think I'd get Australia. I couldn't do it for us. They'll get food, they'll get internet, they'll get bedding, it doesn't matter where they're going to be because they're in a detention centre. And then they'll say, can we go back to France? I don't like it here. I'm really from this place. I'm not entitled. I want to go to France.
Well, this is what Australia did, isn't it? They sent everybody somewhere else rather than Australian island.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay. You could. I mean, so the asylum seekers are trying to get into the UK. Sending them halfway around the world does seem. Well, who's going to pay for it for starters?
Well, we're paying for it anyway.
Yeah, but
so they get a nice place to say, hey, look, there's TV and there's this and there's that. We've got an interpreter for you, and we'll do this and that. No, when you're quite happy to let us know if you want asylum seat, let us know, or if you're wanting back, let us know. But in the meantime, you're not going to escape and do any harm in our communities.
Mm.
But we'll look after you. We'll let you out. You can walk around the island. See the nature.
Okay, let's move on then. Right, something which won't affect any of us, as far as I know, but furlough ends this month and millions of people are going to use the jobs. And the only fig leaf that's been off so far by our Prime Minister is retraining for the younger end.
Yeah.
Free training for anybody who hasn't got an A level. That includes the likes of us.
Right, okay.
Now, we were just talking about, I met the guys this morning to have a chat. That will affect me. The more of my customers that are the hotel and catering industry, the more I'm going to lose. Yeah, it'll affect me. That's why I took out the business loan, you know. And so I've got to watch everything that I do, and I know it's going to come. They're falling over like skittles, and because the scheme that the government have given the employers, in my opinion, is of no use at all. They want us to pay 3% the first lot, and then we have to pay a proportion of the rest of the money they're getting. Some people can't afford it.
No, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just it's a phrase, the shit's going to hit the fan this month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my son finished furlough early, but
Yeah.
not to go back and do his main role, because the person he works for has two businesses. They're based on the same site. Well, one is an exhibition company with no prospect whatsoever of work until potentially well into next year. And the other company makes park homes and glamping things. And Tom's gone back to work because part of his department is the CNC machine. And he's cutting the things that make the ribs of the glamping pods, because the man who doesn't sit on his backside has gone out and got an order for 48 glamping pods, which will keep that side of the business going for 3 months. And Tom has been transferred, listed, if you like, to use the CNC machine that normally cuts the shapes for exhibition stands to cut the ribs and other bits and pieces for the glamping pod. And I think it's really sad that the exhibition people have no idea what's going on and no help. But I also am really impressed that his boss got off his backside and went out and got an order to keep a large portion of his staff working.
That's a good boss.
Yeah. Right. Would somebody like to volunteer to read Claire's comment, please?
Listened to a Radio 4 programme where asylum seekers were in France, but the traffickers told them they weren't safe and they needed to go, I think it's to the UK, and they charged them more money for it. The traffickers should be caught and imprisoned or even hanged for the rest of their life.
Yeah. There we have the Peter perspective.
That's my liberal.
Yeah, shove them in the stocks and throw rotten tomatoes at them.
Yeah, don't believe in capital punishment. I've got to tell you that.
Say good morning to Roland. Right, now we started last week actually screen sharing. Do you have a screen to share?
Yes.
I think so. John.
Nothing interesting happening around here.
It doesn't have to. It can be a national newspaper. It doesn't have to be this.
I'll look up mine if you want.
Yes, please.
Right, so here it is.
I've got the Guardian, just to give you a hint, John. I'm going to bring the Guardian in.
Guardian. Right, come on.
Okay.
I never fathered you for a Guardian reader.
Sorry, a Guardian subscriber.
Okay.
Okay, Peter, it's over to you.
So this is about good news. This is a young lady from Huntly, which is north of Aberdeenshire, works for British ScotRail, and she happened to be on the train that unfortunately came off the rails a few weeks ago. Nicola was an off-duty guard in the train. Two of her colleagues were killed, and a passenger. Nicola, in the rain, I don't know if you've ever been on train tracks. They're not easy to walk because they're full of like pebble type things. So Nicola walked to the nearest signal box, which was quite a while away, even though she was injured, and she was able to phone in to tell them what had happened. Now the thing is, with where it is, because I've travelled with it, it's actually on, the rail is cut into the rocks and it's in a valley, so they couldn't get a phone signal. So she had to walk to the nearest box, and she's been recognised locally in the Champion Awards. So well done, Nicola White.
Brilliant. It's good. It's a good news story, Peter, and that's what we need at the moment. Is more good news stories.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's my view from Aberdeen today.
Okay, I'm going to find the view from Wiltshire, if I can. Oh, I've got Wiltshire County Council. Okay. Okay, so that's stop screen share. And okay, well, while John's looking around for something happening somewhere, okay. So again, okay. Peter, did you watch?
Yes. Watch what? Hold on. Do you know a funny story about that?
Okay.
I'm lying in my bed, and at precisely 2 a.m.
Yep.
I sat up, bolt right, and then I turned on the debate.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my view on the debate.
Okay.
I was quite surprised. What's his name? I call him Sleepy Joe.
Joe Biden.
What's his name again?
Biden. Biden.
Joe Hayden. Right. Oh, Biden. Sorry.
Biden.
Now, I've got to tell you, I was quite surprised how his cognitive, well, you know the word I'm looking for. I'm surprised how he actually did so well, considering what we were expecting. I can tell you now, I did not like the facilitator, not like him as a person, but the way he. How can you take so long to put a question to someone? It's like a monologue. Oh, shut it. Right, cut me off, I'll come back.
Okay, Peter's hiding. I can just need to do that. I can find the button now, John.
Hello, Peter speaking.
I just need to find the mute as well. And
I really don't have anything exciting to share unless the signing of Ross Barkley counts.
Of course it does. Everything counts. It's news.
Not really that bothered about the signing of Ross Barkley.
Okay. I didn't stay up till 2:00 for a US election debate. I watched it on the replay in The Guardian, where they very kindly put the 6 topics into 6 short videos, so you could actually just watch that topic. I've got to say that it was not a good advert for America. The way that both of Trump first, Biden less, they just didn't look presidential or prime ministerial. It was just a debacle. I mean, it's the worst advert for US there's been for a long time. And they've had to change the rules for the second and third debates, because otherwise I hate to think where it would go if they didn't change the rules. So, I mean, when you look at question time in the UK on a Wednesday, it's very refined and people are mindful of and respectful of each other. Even if they don't agree on the topics, at least they do have a civil discussion. There was nothing civil about this at all. I mean, the only thing that brings to mind is that what the last 3.5 years have proved is that whoever is the president in the USA has very little effect on us, because there are so many constraints and balances in place in the government itself that the president has not been able to do everything he wanted to do. And he may have done some things which on a social basis we disagree with, but at least we're still here. And we did have fears that outlandish fears that he might get access to the button and press it at the wrong time. Okay, I'll come off this. I'll take that off the screen now, because that's American politics. We're enough politics in our own country. Question time. In House of Parliament on Wednesdays, Keir Starmer's actually doing a darn good job of keeping Boris in check. Do you agree?
It's not something that bothers me. I really don't show much interest in politics, full stop.
Oh, doesn't he put up a good show? He hasn't told us what he would do yet. That's the problem. And when the shoe's on the other foot, they can't come up with anything.
Your
That's
blood pressure's going up again, Peter. Calm down. Calm down.
No. Go and have a word with Stammer. Go a word with Jeremy Corbyn and say, what did you think you were doing? We should be keeping this to bash the Conservatives. And you go in there and you take a picture and you put it, it goes on social media. You're a fool. Right, that's it.
We already covered that one.
He's clinical in his questioning. He's making his questions shorter and shorter.
Yeah, he's a barrister, isn't he? That's his.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's incisive questioning to the point. No room for manoeuvre. So Boris just doesn't answer the question. Yeah. Okay. So the contrast though between that and the American debate, Peter.
Before you move on, has he said what he would do if he were in charge?
He's given full support to what the government are doing. I mean, he's not disagreeing with what the government are doing. He's disagreeing with how they're actually executing it. Yeah. Try to hold it. We've got, there's no, in March, they signed an act of parliament which said the executive, the government, just the ministers can run the whole country without any questioning of what they're doing. Yeah. Right. So every decision that's been made since March has not been made by parliament. It's been made by just the government. Yeah. And there's no holding to account apart from this 30 minutes on Wednesday. So they can do what they want and they have to do what they want. Good. No, it's not good. Okay.
Even conservative backbenchers don't like that fact. I mean, I'm aware of the fact that they're kicking up a fuss and saying it's time Parliament had a view over what's decided.
If they'd done that, John, they would pass nothing just for their own political interests. Nothing would move forward. It would be, they would get like somebody like Nancy Pelosi in amongst the crowd. You say this and we'll do this, and if they don't give us this, we won't do that. No, we've got a government and we've got a war with a virus.
Right. I actually quite like Roland's comment.
Yeah.
Peter's turning into Fraser from Dad's Army. We're all doomed!
What are if Labour get in?
Right. And Claire's pointing out Keir Starmer's not in charge, and there's at least another 4 years before, I hope. There have been rumours about Boris not being in charge in 6 months' time.
Well, you know, someone actually thought that, can I say to Sheila, not Manziel, I wouldn't be surprised if he turned around and said, look, for the sake of the nation, I'm not on full cylinders, I'm going to have to pass this over to someone else. And he would be a great man and respected if he'd done that.
Totally. I mean, we know that, I mean, he's not firing on all cylinders. He's not back to the way he was before. He needs a breather. He needs a break. I mean, nothing to say he can't come back, but I agree with you, Peter, that it would be in his own interests, in the country's interest as well, if he did, in fact, take a break.
Yeah. Speaking of it, John, did you know the breaking news? Have you seen the breaking news from Europe?
Nope.
No.
They're taking the UK to the court for a breach of the WA. What's that again?
Yeah, let them get on with it. That's just more money wasted, isn't it?
No, that lady, I've forgotten her name, you'll probably look up somebody, but they're now taking this to court. When is Europe going to stop this? And there's even talk that they're going to give a bet on the fishing. And I'll tell you something, I'm some furious at. I'll tell you this. Nicola Sturgeon has been having informal meetings about the future of Europe. Informal meetings with them. No,
she's got to win her independence argument first before she can take you guys back into Europe.
How would we go about it? And would you let us do this? And if we did not, would we go, Nicola, stop it.
Okay, over to Claire, and Claire's saying Johnson isn't in charge now. Probably a chap called Dominic Cummings is running it. True.
Is it Ricky for Prime Minister time then? Did a damn good job as Chancellor.
Well, I think so. Yeah, he presents well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He seems to have something rare in the Conservative Party, a social conscience of sorts.
But we're all going to have to pay for it, remember?
Right.
But at least some people will still be there to pay for it. They won't have been kicked out and have no food, etc. So I'm pretty supportive of what he's been doing.
Right. Step by step, we're going green. And just a reminder that from today, plastic straws are banned in England.
I have a friend. I live at the bottom of 3, a junction of 3, and whichever way you go, it's upwards. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
To the right, when you go up, I have a friend. She's a fantastic, really nice lady. But somebody posted on Facebook about plastic straws, Q-tip things, that's cotton buds is the word, and whatever else. It's plastic stirrers, isn't it? Being stopped. But the way they posted it, it looked like cotton buds had been banned full stop.
No.
And she says, how am I going to do my makeup? And then somebody pointed out you could still buy them, but they were going to have cardboard instead of plastic, which is how they were before plastic came along and took over Q-tips, cotton buds.
Yeah. No advertising. Right. Okay.
By the way, I went out and bought a box of plastic straws before they took off the market.
Is that an Antiques Roadshow thing where you're going to stash them away for 40 years?
No, I cannot get on with these cardboard straws that they're being given in place. I can't drink a McDonald's milkshake through these cardboard straws. They're useless.
Well,
I can't drink a McDonald's milkshake. No, mine through a straw.
I love a McDonald's milkshake. I'm not very keen on the rest of their range, but I love a McDonald's milkshake.
Peter,
I have a nice latte, it's really. But you know what I hate? I hate the straw because it's cardboard.
Yep, I just can't get on with it. I have seen that there's quite a push on buying a 3-pack of stainless steel straws that come with their own little brush for cleaning them out.
I've often thought of these gadgets having all, but carrying all this stuff with you, you buy it and you forget to take it with you. No cups from Costa and things like that. So just suppliers. It's going to be the end of the world with plastic straws. What do you think?
Could be.
We've got new mouse straps actually. They're plastic.
Well, I'm all right for about 200 drinks because there's 200 plastic straws in my box.
In my industry, we've got new traps. The mouse goes in, kills it, and seals it.
Yeah.
And they're bought online and things. And what are you advised to do with them? Throw them in the bin. A big, fair bit of plastic. I wrote to them a day and said, why can't you let us in some way reopen them and reuse them? No, it's meant to be for hygiene, but as a professional pest controller, I'd rather go out and take them out, clean it up and reuse them instead of throwing the whole thing in the bin. I wrote to them today. Doing my best for the environment.
Okay. Let's take that off screen.
Oh, can I just stop for a minute and just say one thing? Hi, Stephen Stalk. I know you'll be watching. Missing you.
Leave him alone.
Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back. Hopefully,
We
for
want
show
him
250.
back soon as possible.
Yeah.
Someone's got to balance you up, even if he's Lord Red.
Well, I've got to tell you a funny story.
Okay.
Tend to buy the Waterstones, and I went up to the two young girls. They had their masks on, and I went in and I said, "Do you have the book called Triggered in yet?" And they looked at each other and said, "Triggered? Who's it by?" I said, "Donald J. Trump Jr." Well, I kid you not. One of them actually spat their mask off. I says, "I take it you haven't heard about that." It was hysterical. It's not coming up till May next year.
Okay. Up to Claire. Claire's saying, "I bought a reserve of plastic straws. Dot out the alternatives in COVID-19 times." And Claire again. John, do you want to read this one?
It says one of the most common items when litter picking and that gets washed up in rivers and on beaches is plastic drinking straws and cotton bud stalks.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I do worry about the animals because I have seen these getting picked. I mean, I've got to give Sky News, which is turning leftist, by the way. I've got to give Sky News their bit about the environment bit they've done, and it was very well received. All the plastic getting washed around. And talking about that, did you know there's going to be a new TV channel?
I know about a new political party, but TV channel, which one?
It's called GB News.
Yes, well, that's where our friend has gone from the BBC, the Mr. Outspoken gentleman, who
Mr.
I'm mentally having a block on his name.
Yeah.
Is there room for another?
Rupert Murdoch tried to get him as well.
Uh-huh.
Encouraging him, but the Americans have given her. It's an American company, and they've given her, I think it's Discovery, and they're giving him a show. Well, not a show, but a GB News.
Yeah, that's Andrew Neil's gone there. I was having a hard time thinking of his name. He's left the BBC after 20 odd years.
Well, no, he never left the BBC. They left him. This says, "We don't want your show anymore." And then a new director come in, and he says, "Get Andrew back. Get him back." And they offered all sorts of things, and he said in the end, the offer just wasn't good enough to get me back, so I'm going here instead. So at last, we're going to have another news programme that might give an alternate view. There's one thing about Andrew, he's fair.
Is it the right wing news channel, Peter?
No. If you look at Andrew Neil, he's very fair. He will bash every politician that comes on.
All right.
Everyone. No mercy. That guy does his homework.
I wonder if Paxman would join.
Yeah, Neil's going to be the chair, and Andrew Neil is going to be the chairman of GB News as well as the presenter.
Yes, same as
he's the chairman of the Spectator.
Yeah, so we can get alternative. I've got to tell you, I am getting so annoyed at the news programs. I used to watch Sky every morning. Don't watch it. GMB, I'm starting to think of going elsewhere now. No, BBC. I was on this morning. I was told Sheila to turn it off.
Okay, let's just have a quick look then. It will be a quick look at the BBC News website.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it full screen because it's all a couple of minutes to relax. So, what's going on? So I said earlier, the growth in COVID cases is actually slowing down.
Right.
This is the front page of the BBC News site, which is my port of call for news, as well as the Guardian. I'll feature the Guardian next week. Okay. If anything catches your eye as I scroll down, then stop me and I'll go full screen on that story. If nothing catches your eye, then this is just a tour of the BBC News website, and we cover news from around the world.
Should I wear a face covering in the supermarket? Click that for a minute, please.
What? All right. Okay. What are the rules for face masks and face coverings? Okay, now I can't play the video, obviously, otherwise we'll get taken off. But why should we wear a face covering? Face coverings reduce the spread of coronavirus droplets from coughs, sneezes, and speaking. They should mainly be worn to protect other people from coronavirus rather than yourself. When worn correctly, they should cover the nose and mouth, which are the main confirmed sources of transmission. They can help to reduce the spread of virus from people who are contagious, including those who have no symptoms or are yet to develop them. There's also evidence they can offer some protection to the wearer, although they are not a replacement for social distancing. Where must they be worn? Face coverings are now compulsory across the UK when travelling on public transport, in shops, supermarkets and shopping centres, and when you're not seated at a table to eat or drink in hospitality venues. People can be refused for travel for not following the rules or fined as a last resort. In England, police can issue a £200 fine for someone breaking the face covering rules. In Scotland, Northern Ireland, and what's the same across the board. Sorry, in Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales, it's £60, not £200. Face coverings must be worn in indoor spaces, including banks, building sites, post offices, places of worship, museums and galleries. Okay, Peter.
Well, I can relate to this. As you know, I've been out a few times recently with my business, which is involving going into people's homes. Before I step out of the car, my mask's on, and I gel my hands. I actually like to gel it in front of the customer so they can see me doing it. And I'm quite surprised. I knock at the door and they open it up and they see me and they look at me. And some of them, they've no masks. Well, the majority have no masks on. And I'm coming at them. And they say to me, do you want me to wear a mask? And I look back at him and I say, well, I'll wear mine to protect you. I says, because my friend nearly died of it. No, that's a conversation opener. I says, so I take it, I'm taking it seriously. Then they go away with a mask. It's quite interesting. Very, very interesting to see that.
But there is something psychological about wearing a mask in your own home. You just don't expect to have to do it.
No. So I'll put it to you. If a guy came to you, he was an engineer of some sort, and he's come into your home, and he turns up with his mask and everything on, would you wear one?
I had a gas engineer come to the house during lockdown to change my meters. And he had a proper industrial mask. Yeah. He wore gloves and he even wore booties. But I don't think the booties were anything to do with. They were to protect my carpet. But as I don't have any carpet in the hall, it wouldn't have made any difference anyway. But
so we wear them.
Or has old-fashioned tiles in it.
In case you're bringing your dirty feet in, you know. So it's a bit of courtesy. It's quite a bit, but that's a restriction.
Well, I didn't wear a mask. What I did was open the door and I went into the kitchen.
Yes.
And I just stayed out the way.
Yeah.
I'd already left the meter cupboard open and I opened the garage door so he could get to the electric meter, which is in the garage.
Yeah, I give an old lady, she took ages to come, she was in a Zimmer frame to do, and I says, where's the wasps? And so then I says, look, she says, I've been stuck in here for months. I says, I'll give you some discount. She gave me a £2 tip. Thank you very much, my dear.
You can buy half a bitter with that, can't you?
I don't know.
No, you don't drink, do you, Pete?
For those that you don't watch it, I'm 16 years teetotal, 17 years the start of it in November. But having said that, drink is a big problem in society just now because of the locking.
It is. I mean, this 10 p.m. curfew is not doing what it was intended to do, is it? Because people now drink right until 10 o'clock. They all go out to the pub at the same time and congregate outside.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen, and they're already talking it in Scotland. They want to stop the sale of alcohol altogether.
Ah, that's
They did that in India.
That's right. Yeah, they did. Thank you, John.
People just relax when they've had a drink. This COVID's rubbish, and yeah, don't worry about it, and they're drinking, and, and
Our friend Abhilash, I think that's how you pronounce your name. He was complaining he'd run out of beer at home and there wasn't anywhere to buy beer.
wow. I did. I mean, I met a lady where I was working as well. I got chatting to her. No, you do that as you're working, and basically she said the COVID-19 had made her put in for a divorce because her husband had turned to drink, and it was the catalyst for going and putting in for a divorce. So meeting all sorts of people, and I mean, if you're an alcoholic, it must be blooming awful. You must be crawling up the walls if you're going for your pint and things. I feel for them if they need it, And yeah, so if you haven't seen The Handmaid's Tale, suggest you watch it, because I think we maybe end up like that. Not as like that as such, but more Puritan society. What do you think? Have you seen The Handmaid's Tale,
Nope.
John?
I'll put it on my list.
Maybe someone that's watching has thoroughly enjoyed it. Blessed be the day.
And over to Chris. And Chris is saying, when someone comes into our home, I wear a mask. When the postman rings to deliver something, it's a hurry to put on the mask and open the door before he's gone, before she's done that.
Here, the postman has to stand 3 meters away from your door after he's rung the bell.
Yeah.
And you don't sign for anything anymore. He signs for it on your behalf.
Yeah. Some of them take a picture of the delivery drivers.
Yeah, the DPD driver does that.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I give a shout out to them. They've worked hard. I was speaking to one of them. They've worked hard, and they've done their duty. They're working long hours. That's why I give them a tip now and then. I've never been the greatest at tippers, but I do it now. Give them a couple of beers home or something, 5 or something like that. How about for time?
Yeah, I'm just. Oh right, okay. Just on a note. Did you see the demonstration yesterday by people who work in? I mean, it's a British tradition. It's a pantomime. Hopefully, I spelt it right at the end of the going towards the end of the year. I mean, the Birmingham Hippodrome, John, is famous.
I don't know. It affects my sister's youngest. He was in pantomime last year as a taking part in the pantomime. He was even on the list. It was his first performance from college at Blackpool Winter Gardens. This year he ain't working because there aren't any.
Well, folks, I think you've got to think it's difficult, but I think you should have to forget your pantomime just now. What people have got to realise, we're fighting for people's lives here now. And that's the problem. I don't know what we can get through to say to people, this is real. People are dying, and people are dying until we get a vaccine or we know that the medicine that we need to get used. Rome wasn't built in a day. These scientists, I know for a fact, they're working really hard to get something on the table. Where it would maybe take 5 years before, they're trying to rush it through to get something for us all. Be patient. Put out your blackout curtains. watch for spies. Up to you.
I take your point, Peter. We'll be patient. Speaking of which, we've got the roofers in at the moment, and they're putting new tiles on. You've not heard a thing, though, have you?
Not that sound.
Brilliant.
Are
Chris
you sure
works
they're
again.
doing the work?
Yeah. Oh,
He's
yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
sell us crisp again.
Yeah. I'm marketing crisp. Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to do a show for the last 8 days if it hadn't been for crisp.
Well,
Because
I think that's brilliant. I'm going to promote that. Tell more people about that crisp. I might even buy it.
yeah.
I was going to tell you something as well. Yeah.
Right. Comment from Roland. Roland saying news from Wiltshire, which is where we both are. The number of metal detectors has increased, and they're illegally digging up areas.
Oh, I know a guy that does that.
Okay. Well, this is a. There you are. I'll have to check that out.
Proof.
Right. In other news, we have a place in Devizes, and it's called Devizes Assizes. And it's a court that was built in 1835 by public subscription. The good people of the town all put money in to actually build the court, and it was the main court for Wiltshire. And it remained a court from 1835 until 1980, when a new court was built. It's a beautiful Palladian building with 3 Doric columns outside, and it's just absolutely amazing. And in 1980, it closed, and it was sold off. And the people who were sold to didn't do anything with it, and they sold it to somebody else and didn't do anything with it. And we got to 2019, and it was in a state of disrepair. It was tumbleweed all over the place, and it taken on a life of its own. It had been taken over by nature. And then a consortium got together, and that consortium decided that they would move the Wiltshire Museum from where it is in a terraced property into Devizes Assizes. So they bought the Assizes, and they've spent a year working on making it safe because it had no roof.
Yeah.
And it had been destroyed inside, so they've had to take everything inside out. And last weekend they did an open day, and they showed what it looked like in the 1835, what it looked like in 1900s, what they found it when they looked in 2019, how it looks now, and it's coming together. And in 5 years' time, it will open as the new Wiltshire Museum, displaying all the artifacts from Stonehenge and everything that's been found in the areas around here. And it does tell the story of man from prehistoric times. It's going to be good.
We've got a building like that too. Can I just ask one quick question? We can probably go over our time today because we've missed some minutes. Your other half, Angelica.
Yes.
She's still got relatives in Germany.
She's got a mother and brothers. Yeah.
Right. Could you? How are they getting on with the universal wage? I believe that's happening over there. Am I correct?
The universal wage is working over there. One of Angelica's brothers owns a company, so he's not directly involved. And the second one is a time-served printer, so he's not involved.
So what happens with the universal wage if they're on the dole or they've no work?
Well, but we're adopting the same system, aren't we, Peter? A version of it.
I'm not sure. They talked about a universal wage, right?
Yeah.
Where everybody gets a fair amount, I would think, to live, which I've always said. Everybody gets the same money, doesn't matter who you are, everything stops, and it's for essentials and essentials only. Broadband, food, what the other essentials in life. Is that how it's working over there?
I can find out for next week, Peter. I don't.
Yeah, that'd be great. I want to know. I'm wanting to know how it's working.
You're going to move back to Berlin, are you, Peter? And get statutory minimum wage. Can we go back to courts? We had a court in Solihull built in 1950s, so it wasn't posh like there. they decided to move the magistrates' courts to Birmingham, centralise all of the West Midlands thing, which is the worst mistake ever because you can't get anywhere near the bloody magistrates' court in Birmingham. Anyway, the Crown Service sold it, and do you know what's there now?
A bar.
It's an Aldi. So Aldi, yes, the Germans have taken over our court. Yes, they knocked it down and built a new building.
Oh, speaking about courts, guess what's happening up here? I don't know if it's all of Scotland. They've got such a backlog of magistrates' hearings, etc., whatever you call it, people going to court for minor offences. They're starting to use cinema houses to hold court proceedings. Oh, by the way, speaking about cinemas, our little friend Fraser from Edinburgh. Is it Fraser?
Yeah. Edinburgh Dusters.
Yeah. See, did you see that he went to the pictures? He was the only one there.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I know what happened. Social media. Fraser's going to the pictures just to let you know. No, thanks for the warning.
Right. I didn't paint it. Well, I painted some sort of picture of divisors assizers, but this is divisors assizers, and you can see what 4 pillars, not 3 pillars. What a grand building it is, and it is being it's being refurbished as we speak. So that's the assizers. It's been saved, and it is being cleaned up.
A lot of work for me there. There's probably pigeons in it.
Okay, and
no idea who he is.
No, have we met this man before?
No, we haven't. His name's spelt correctly though.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yes. Okay. So we've seen divisors assizers. We've gone through the news. You've got to get a newspaper for next week, John.
Yeah.
Possibly.
We can become world famous.
It all helps. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just to show people newspapers in the UK as opposed to newspapers in the US. And have you? It could even be an Australian newspaper if you want. But yeah, okay. All right. We'll pursue that at some other point. Is there anything happening at 4 o'clock today, John?
Yeah,
you're on. You're on again.
You're on again.
Is the fish with us today?
I don't know. I'm getting bored of the fish. Right. It's a gay fish anyway, so and that isn't meant in a nasty way.
No, that's LGBTQ.
LBGT week.
Q.
Yeah. What week are you into, gentlemen?
49.
Wow, I remember the first one. Do you know, I'd love to learn all these things.
I hate to tell you, Pete, but it gets 4 times the number of viewers than this show does.
Know that. We need to do something about that. We need to do something about that if we really want to be shown. But
we've got Blabbing for Britain on Facebook. We've got Blabbing for Britain on YouTube. We've got Blabbing for Britain, the podcast.
Yeah.
So
I'm afraid about it being seen, to be honest with you. It's just got to be. No, you know, I'm doing the marketing for the business, and the couple of things I've done recently, it's been fantastic. And I'll speak to John just after it because I've just done something else in order to make it even better. You know, one bit at a time, John. I've actually been very busy. I've done a full day's work Monday. Showed the men I could do it. Even though I'm grey-haired, I can still do it.
Guys, it's 11:05.
Oh,
because we started 5 minutes late.
All right, okay.
Yeah, it's over to John.
How did Burnley do last night?
Sorry, I've gone deaf. Sorry. It was Man City though. Come on, John, it's yours.
I won't mention that Burnley lost last night. Okay, so it's from Fraser up in Scotland. That's "We're doomed!"
Said my name.
Goodbye from him. It's goodbye from Stephen in Wiltshire with the culture of the nice museum and the Stonehenge thingy and all the other things they do and the long flight of locks. And it's goodbye from me in the industrial West Midlands. We'll see you same place, same time next Thursday.